Hello to all the viewers tuning in to the fated reunion. We are delving deep into the most dramatic developments where love, betrayal, and conspiracy have merged into a deadly symphony. The biological mother has issued a hit order. Hit like and share now if you think Toan can survive. The curtain has fallen on the final act, just as Toan and his assailant, Mr. Thu, shook hands to form a blood alliance against his biological mother. The Grim Reaper's scythe has been dispatched to the village. Codename Hung, the professional assassin, has arrived. He has infiltrated the peaceful village carrying a chilling execution order from the very woman who gave birth to and raised Toan. Death is imminent, just waiting for Toan to make one single mistake before striking. Toan must continue to fake innocence, making himself a harmless prey in the eyes of the predator. But is this disguise strong enough to shield his billion-dollar revenge plan? And will Mr. Thu, the trembling traitor, dare to become the iron wall protecting Toan and Diem? Diem is holding the most shocking evidence, but will she be able to get it to Toan before Hung can finish them all off? Don't miss the battle for survival between the amnesiac farmer and the invisible assassin. Subscribe to the channel to witness Toan trap Hung, or if he will lose his life right there in the green rice field. After the shocking reunion, though it only lasted for the brief moment of the fateful meal, a stark truth emerged. Toan remembered everything. The pain of his mother's betrayal, the conspiracy to steal his assets, and even the fact that Mr. Thu was his attacker. But the vigilant look in Toan's eyes when he uttered Diem's name spoke volumes. He was pretending to have amnesia to protect her. Diem, overjoyed that her lover was alive, felt an instinctual sense that something was wrong. Mr. Thu's hasty attempts to conceal something, his pale face and panicked eyes upon witnessing their meeting, plus the strangely cautious look in Toan's eyes, all created a mysterious curtain that she felt compelled to pull back. Immediately after the meal, as Toan and his grandma returned, Diem couldn't sit still. The love and care of Mr. Thu's mother, the grandma, had helped her recover, but now she had a new purpose: to find the truth and protect Toan. She knew she couldn't be a burden to the kind-hearted grandma any longer. No matter how much the older woman pleaded with her to stay, her worry for Toan and her fear of Mr. Thu's secret pushed her to leave. "Grandma, I have to go." Diem choked out, clasping the old woman's hands tightly. "I know Toan is in danger. I can't just sit here and watch him fight alone." The grandma looked at the young girl, seeing the unwavering fire in her hollow eyes. She sighed gently, stroking her head. "My foolish child, but love cannot be stopped. All right, if you've made up your mind, please be careful. But remember, this place will always be your home. Don't be too reckless." Receiving the blessing and a small amount of her tiny savings that the grandma secretly slipped into her pocket, Diem left in the early morning, before Mr. Thu had a chance to wake up. She went straight to Mr. Thu's wooden house, the place Toan had visited. She was greeted by the grandma, who had sheltered Toan, the older woman still beaming after the meal the day before. "Oh my, it's Diem. You must be missing Toan, aren't you? Young people these days." The grandma smiled kindly. Diem grasped the grandma's hands, her voice urgent. "Yes, Grandma, I wanted to ask a little bit about Toan. When I saw him, I felt he wasn't completely well. Has he shown any strange behavior? For example, has he ever tried to deliberately avoid something? The grandma looked pensive, then shook her head. Not at all. The boy is very obedient, kind, and healthy. It's just that sometimes he clutches his head in pain and he keeps going alone to the rice field near the thick bamboo grove, the one he says is related to the blow he took. He wants to find his memory, but that memory seems to bring him fear. This information hit Diem like a lightning bolt. The rice field near the thick bamboo grove. That was precisely where Mr. Thu had been secretly digging last night. The puzzle pieces were starting to fit. Diem skillfully steered the conversation, focusing on the neighbors under the pretense of wanting to know if anyone had seen her or Tuan the night of the accident. Grandma, did anyone in the village see Tuan and me together? Or has anyone noticed anything unusual about my foster father, Mr. Thu, lately? The grandma began to recount. About that, the whole village knows that young Thu from next door has a new wife, and we heard he's made it big in the city. But lately, he's been acting strangely. Just yesterday, the little girl from Mr. Sao's house at the end of the lane mentioned she saw young Thu furtively digging something at the old river embankment near that bamboo area. It was late at night. Why was he being so secretive? Every word from the grandma felt like a dagger piercing Diem's hope. Mr. Thu was not just the attacker, but was also trying to dispose of the evidence. A chill ran down Diem's spine, but her anger and determination quickly chased away the fear. After saying goodbye to the grandma, Diem decided to head straight for the old river embankment the grandma had mentioned. She found an area where the earth had been carelessly filled in. She used a sharp wooden stick to dig lightly. She didn't have to dig too deep before she saw a corner of an old canvas tarp peeking out. She pulled it out, and underneath were a small mud-caked shovel and a few torn fabric bags reeking of the pungent smell of mud and fresh bamboo. Diem trembled, but she knew she had found the evidence Mr. Thu wanted to hide. However, this evidence only proved Mr. Thu was the attacker. The truth about Tone's fortune and biological mother remained a mystery. Returning to the grandma's house, Diem deliberately walked past Tuan's house. She saw Tuan diligently hoeing the soil in the garden, his face as serene as a genuine farmer. He just looked up, their eyes met, and then he bent back down to work. Diem decided to take a risk. She approached the fence, pretending to ask a casual question. "Mr. Tuan, do you need any help? I see you're working so hard." Tuan stopped looking up at her, his eyes still as cold and distant as the first time they had met in the village. "Who are you? I don't remember you." Tuan replied, his voice dry, but his eyes quickly darted toward Mr. Thu's house. Diem understood. Tuan was acting, and he was trying to send a message. She followed his gaze, then she took an equally risky action. She pulled out the matching ring they had once exchanged from her pocket and clenched it tightly in her palm, letting only a small part of it show. Tuan saw the ring, and a flash of understanding sparked in his eyes. He knew what she meant. He knew she was saying, "I know you are pretending. I will support you." Tuan sighed, turned away, and continued hoeing the soil. "I'm fine. Thank you for your concern. But you should go home. It's not safe here." Diem said no more. She knew she had to leave, but now she had the truth in her hands and a secret line of communication with Toàn. She had to find the true mastermind, the person behind Mr. Thu. And that was Toan's wicked biological mother. Would Mr. Thu dare to take another reckless action now that he knew Diem had become a threat? Following the brief, tense encounter with Diem, Toàn knew he was playing a life-or-death game of chess. The return of his full memory had transformed him from an amnesiac victim into a betrayed warrior hiding beneath the safest possible facade, a kind, gentle farmer who owed his life to the grandma. Every gesture, every word from Toàn was now part of a perfect act. He had to convince everyone, from the kind-hearted grandma and the curious neighbors to his immediate enemy, Mr. Thu, and especially his cruel biological mother, who was monitoring his every move from afar, that Toàn has permanent amnesia, is harmless, and is living a new life. Toan's health had fully recovered, becoming even more resilient thanks to his days of relentless labor. The work in the fields and with livestock had become the perfect cover, concealing the mind operating at maximum speed. Every early morning, while dew still clung to the leaves, Toàn would take his rod and head out to the grandma's fish pond. This fish pond was not only a source of income, but also the best place for him to think alone. Thank you, Toàn. Thanks to you, the fish in this pond are growing faster than in previous years. The grandma would often say, her voice full of pride, when she saw the school of fish thrashing vigorously whenever Toàn fed them. While pouring out the fish food, Toàn constantly calculated his next move. He recalled every detail from the board meetings, every deceitful statement from his biological mother, and especially the ownership transfer contracts. He needed to reclaim them. His plan had three main goals: solidify the trust of the grandma and the community, utilize the free time to plan communication with Diem, and learn more about the relationship between his biological mother and Mr. Thu. On one occasion, a curious neighbor, Mr. Bay, walked past the fish pond and teased, "Hey, Toàn, you came from the city and you're surprisingly diligent with farming, huh? You must have forgotten all about your past life and only know how to raise fish now, right?" Toàn smiled, kindly scratched his head, and faked innocence. "Sir Bay, I don't even remember where I came from, but I like raising fish. Seeing them grow makes me happy. I'm just grateful to Grandma for saving my life." Tuan's eyes were sincere and harmless, convincing Mr. Bay completely. He knew that every one of those words would be spread throughout the village and eventually reach his enemies, proving that he was still a useless amnesiac. The most demanding job was harvesting rice. Under the scorching sun, Toàn carried the sickle to the field, working tirelessly. The sound of the sickle, whack, cutting into the rice stalks, was soothing to hear, but it simultaneously triggered fragments of memory from the night of the attack, similar sounds to bamboo being cut. My goodness, how is he working so fast today? A group of women harvesting nearby whispered to each other, "That city boy is working faster than the young men in our own village." Toàn continued to reap his head down, but his eyes were constantly watching. He was looking for an opportunity. He understood that Mr. Thu was afraid of him, and that fear was his greatest tool. He knew Diem had found the evidence at the embankment. Now he needed an ally, and his attacker was that reluctant ally. Late one afternoon, after stacking the last load of rice stalks onto his shoulders, Toan walked past the old river embankment where Diem had been investigating. He knew Mr. Thu was lurking nearby, terrified that he would contact the police. Toan stopped deliberately setting his load down and spoke loudly, just enough for the sound to reach the area near Mr. Thu's house. Everything that happened here was an accident. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. I just want to live in peace. He finished speaking, pretended to dust himself off, and continued on his way. But he knew the message had reached Mr. Thu. I know you were the attacker, but I am keeping quiet. As predicted, just a few minutes later, Mr. Thu frantically rushed to Toan's house. He knocked on the door, his face clearly showing tension and guilt. Toan, are you well? I heard you recovered. Mr. Thu stammered. Toan offered an innocent smile, but his eyes were sharp as a knife. Ah, you are? Well, I don't remember you. You're a neighbor, right? I'm healthy now, thanks to Grandma. Do you need something urgently? Toan maintained his act. Mr. Thu swallowed hard. Ah, no, nothing at all. I just wanted to check on you. Oh, I saw that girl Diem stopping by here yesterday. Poor girl wandering around. Don't say anything about her to anyone, okay? She's afraid of trouble. Toan looked straight into Mr. Thu's eyes, and with just one subtle wink, he broke the barrier. Who is she again? Toan said. But that wink was enough for Mr. Thu to understand. I know who Diem is. I know who you are. Mr. Thu realized that Toan had not lost his memory at all. Toan was pretending. Toan knew the truth, yet Toan was not exposing him. Why? I need to talk to you privately. Tonight after 11 p.m. at the old river embankment, just you alone. Mr. Thu whispered, his voice trembling with fear. Toan nodded gently. He knew the fish had taken the bait. Mr. Thu would be his first reluctant ally in the war against his wicked biological mother. While Toan was busy with work and establishing an alliance with his enemy, Diem had quietly left the village, but she hadn't given up. She traveled to the nearest town to find a post office. She wrote a very short, unsigned letter, sending it to the address of the grandma who was housing Toan. The letter contained only 2 sentences. I know the truth about the ring. Protect the evidence at the embankment and re-establish contact using the code name Green Rice Field when Grandma is away. She didn't send it via regular mail, but entrusted it to a reliable local messenger. She knew Toan was smart enough to understand this message. 1, Diem trusted him too. She warned him about the evidence, and 3, she established a safe channel of communication. When Toan received this letter, he smiled. Diem had understood the situation. Now he was no longer alone. He had a steadfast ally and a guilty enemy who would be forced into becoming one. At night, under the dim moonlight, 2 men full of secrets, Mr. Thu, the attacker, and Toan, the victim, would meet at the old river embankment. The real war, driven by the wicked schemes of Toan's biological mother, was about to begin. After sending the coded letter and establishing a secure communication channel with Toan, Diem had temporarily withdrawn from the village. She knew that remaining close to Toàn right now was too dangerous. His enemy, the cruel biological mother, was not an anonymous thug, but a powerful businesswoman with an extensive network. Her surveillance would surely be sophisticated. Diem went to a small neighboring town, rented a modest boarding room, and started a secret life. She was no longer the naive girl who cried over lost love. Hardship had forged her into a silent warrior. Diem's primary goal was to find out everything about the woman who had betrayed Toàn, Madame Cook, the powerful biological mother. Diem found a part-time job at a small coffee shop where she could eavesdrop on conversations about business, the market, and influential figures. She gave herself a false name and fabricated a simple background story. With the small amount of money she had left, she secretly went to public internet cafes. She began searching for information about Toan's group and Madame Cook. She found old articles praising Madame Cook's successful career and her benevolence in adopting Toàn. She also found recent financial reports showing sudden changes in the company's shareholding structure, all occurring after the time Toàn was attacked and went missing. Diem quickly realized Madame Cook was taking the final steps to legalize the asset seizure. She needed Toàn to be dead or permanently amnesiac for all the transfer documents to be considered valid and unchallengeable. To ensure absolute safety, Diem and Toàn needed a method of communication that could not be tracked. Diem used the post office as the main contact point. She sent letters disguised as common parcels, such as a simple drawing of a peaceful village scene or a package of rice seeds. If Toàn replied in a letter mentioning a bountiful harvest, code A, it meant the plan was going smoothly and Mr. Thu was under control. If Toàn mentioned urgent need for fertilizer, code B, it meant imminent danger and he required urgent external support. Diem wrote detailed messages, questions about the company's situation, finances on a thin piece of paper, rolled it up, and concealed it inside the body of an old pencil or a small knife handle that she included with the parcel. The external content was always superficial, social inquiries and harmless drawings to throw off suspicion if intercepted. Diem knew that Toan's testimony alone was not enough to bring down Madame Cook. She needed physical evidence, fake contracts, proof of corruption outside of the Madame's control. Diem focused on people who had been discarded or mistreated by Madame Cook within the company. She used the information from the articles to track down a former chief accountant of the group who had been unfairly dismissed. Diem spent several days waiting outside the former chief accountant's house. Finally, she met him and recounted Toan's story, presenting the evidence of the abnormal share ownership changes. Initially, the chief accountant was terrified, knowing how ruthless Madame Cook could be. However, Diem used her sincerity and clear evidence to persuade him. I know you were wronged. Toàn and I don't want to reclaim the company just for wealth. I want justice for Toàn and for people like you. The meeting was more successful than she had imagined. The chief accountant pushed into a corner and, resentful of Madame Cook, revealed that he had secretly copied some confidential documents regarding Madame Cook's money laundering transactions. These documents were enough to accuse her of economic crimes, even if the attack on Toàn could not be proven. Throughout this process, Diem strictly maintained one principle: never returned to the village unless there was an urgent code, Code B. She did not use a mobile phone and constantly changed her place of residence to the outside world and the enemy. Diem was a city girl who had come home but then left again. Everyone thought she had given up hope and was no longer a threat. Diem secretly contacted a small law firm in the town, asking them to hold the package of documents from the chief accountant for her. She did not tell them the whole truth, only that it was her will, and requested the firm only open and publicize it if she failed to contact them within 1 month. This was a final defensive shield, ensuring Madame Cook could not kill her without being exposed. Diem, hiding in the shadows, had become the information link and the holder of the most critical evidence for Toàn. She was preparing the stage for the final confrontation, where Toàn would reveal himself and defeat his biological mother, using both economic evidence and the truth about the attack. Night fell, casting a quiet blackness over the village. Only the chirping of crickets and the faint crescent moon illuminated the sky. At the old river embankment, the scene of the near-murder Toàn was already waiting. He wore the grandma's old jacket, his demeanor calm, like a farmer who had just finished patrolling the fields. Mr. Thu appeared, his face ashen, beaded with sweat. He looked nervously around, afraid of the darkness and the worry of being discovered. "You, Toàn," Mr. Thu whispered, trying to keep his voice steady. "I know you haven't lost your memory." Toàn neither denied nor confirmed it. He simply looked straight into Mr. Thu's eyes, his gaze sharp and completely different from the innocent look he wore during the day. "Mr. Thu," Toàn began, his voice deep and resonant. "I remember very clearly the smell of the mud and the fresh bamboo right here. I remember the blow, and I know you were trying to bury that shovel and the canvas bag." Mr. Thu stepped back, trembling all over. "Please don't call the police. I didn't mean to kill you. I just wanted to steal money to pay off debts. I was cornered." Toàn moved closer, not threatening with force, but with words. "Kill me." Toàn let out a cold laugh. "Do you think you are the only one who wanted to kill me, Mr. Thu? If you want to know the truth, listen carefully. You were just a small pawn in a much bigger game, manipulated by someone far more ruthless and cunning than you." Mr. Thu looked up, his eyes full of doubt. "What are you saying?" Toàn lowered his voice, speaking the name Mr. Thu had never considered. "The real mastermind is not me, but my biological mother, Madame Cook, the person you know as a successful, benevolent businesswoman. She hired someone to finish me off after completing the seizure of all my assets and my company. Mr. Thu, the attack," Toàn continued. "Your attack was just a fateful coincidence that happened right before Madame Cook's grand plan was set in motion. This twist landed on Mr. Thu like a lethal blow. Toan's biological mother, that powerful woman. Mr. Thu felt a sudden chill, his own guilt suddenly seeming small and insignificant compared to this horrific conspiracy. "No, that can't be," Mr. Thu stammered. "Madame Cook, she is a benevolent person." "Benevolent?" Toàn sneered. She orchestrated everything so that I would either suffer permanent amnesia or die so she could legally seize trillions of dong. Do you think a powerful woman like that would spare a petty criminal like you, who accidentally attacked me before she could give the order? Tuan looked straight at Mr. Thu, his words like nails being driven in. Mr. Thu, if the police find me and this case is exposed, Madam Cook will ensure that you are the only killer convicted. You will be the perfect scapegoat. I am certain she already has fake evidence prepared to frame you. You will die in prison while she comfortably enjoys my assets. The sheer terror dispelled all pretense in Mr. Thu. He understood that he was facing a dark shadow far beyond his capabilities. So what do you want? Mr. Thu asked, his voice trembling. Please, I will do anything to protect my mother. End this life. I don't need you to pay for that blow, Mr. Thu. Tuan said decisively. I need you to live and become my eyes and ears here. I am faking amnesia to protect Tu Diem and to gather evidence against Madam Cook. My enemy is monitoring my every move from afar, and possibly Tu Diem's as well. Tuan made his offer. I will keep the secret of your attack forever. In return, you must obey my every command. You must watch any stranger who comes to the village, anything related to my grandma, or any news about Madam Cook. You must help me protect Tu Diem, who you know is connected to me. If you betray me, I will not only expose you for the assault, but Madam Cook will also come after you. You have no other choice. A flash of despair and a fragile glimmer of hope appeared in Mr. Thu's eyes. Finally, he nodded. I agree. I will do everything you ask. Please don't let my mother and Diem be in danger. Tuan knew this alliance was built on fear and self-interest, but it would be strong enough to stand against Madam Cook. The next morning, Tone went to feed the fish as usual. While feeding them, he secretly wrote a message and hid it in a sealed envelope. The content: Dear Ms. Tu Diem, the package of rice seeds you sent has arrived safely. I confirm a bountiful harvest code A has been established. Need to prepare legal documents for notarization. Please send them to me in the next parcel concealed as before. Be careful. There is a newly domesticated hunting dog here. Tuan secretly tasked a reliable messenger with sending the letter. Code A confirmed that Mr. Thu was under control and was now his newly domesticated hunting dog. He was asking Tu Diem to send the package of economic evidence she had collected. Tu Diem received the parcel, opened it, and found the message. Her heart pounded. Code A. Tuan's plan had succeeded. She immediately contacted the chief accountant and the lawyer to retrieve the package of confidential documents. Tu Diem carefully photographed all the secret economic records, then copied a version onto a small USB drive, meticulously concealed it inside a hollowed-out old pencil, and sent it back to Tuan via the post office. The external content of the parcel read, Tuan, I am sending you this lucky pencil to help you jot down whatever you remember. I hope you regain your memory quickly. The journey of transferring the evidence was complete without raising suspicion. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, but Madam Cook was not one to give up easily. She found the prolonged silence from the countryside village suspicious. She dispatched a trusted henchman, a cold and professional man, named Huyen to the village to monitor Toàn. Huyen was instructed, pretend to be a real estate market investigator. Monitor all of Toan's communications. If he genuinely has amnesia, leave him be. If he shows any signs of remembering accidentally, eliminate him, and ensure no one can trace it back. Huyen arrived in the village staying at the only guest house, always carrying a notebook and a hidden camera. Just as Toàn had predicted, Mr. Thu, driven by extreme fear, spotted Huyen immediately. He saw Huyen repeatedly walking past Toan's house, pretending to survey the land, but constantly casting his eyes towards the fish pond in the fields. Mr. Thu immediately reported to Toàn during a fleeting encounter while the two were at the market. Toàn, there's a stranger named Huyen. He says he's from a real estate company, but he keeps staring at you. I think he's Madame Cuck's man, Mr. Thu whispered frantically. Toàn simply nodded calmly. Good. Let him watch me. Mr. Thu, don't panic. Just do what you have to do. Continue to observe and report. And remember, Huyen must never know that Diem was ever here or anything about 2DM. Toàn knew Huyen had arrived. Now was the time for him to ramp up his performance to a new level. A man with amnesia who was happy with his rural life and completely devoid of any intention for revenge.